WCBI News at 10 starts now.
Thanks for joining us tonight at 10. We're continuing to follow a developing story out of Alabama. An officer-involved shooting in Gordo leaves one man dead. Sources tell us Pickens County Sheriff David Hall was involved in that incident. However, he was not injured. Our Quentin Smith has been in Pickens County all afternoon. He has the latest details.
Residents say things are usually quiet here at Grandview Gardens Apartments, but that all changed on Tuesday. Officers spent several hours investigating a fatal officer-involved shooting here at this complex.
We're like, pow.
That gunshot is what woke Anthony Peck out of his sleep on Tuesday. Peck lives at Grandview Gardens, right next to where the alleged fatal officer-involved shooting took place.
I was laying down in my room and I heard a gunshot, and so I ran to my sister's room and got her, and then we both ran outside, and she called his sister and told her that they shot their brother.
Family members confirm Wallace Wilder is the suspect who was shot and killed in the incident. Sources tell WCBI investigators were initially called out to the apartment complex to serve a mental evaluation. When they arrived, we're told Wilder refused to let them inside his home, so investigators then had to force their way in.
I seen a lot of police over there at the house trying to get in. They were throwing benches down and stuff.
When deputies entered the home, the suspect allegedly had a knife and was threatening the officers. Sources tell us investigators eventually shot Wilder. The Gordo man was then rushed to a Tuscaloosa hospital where he later died.
The day was a tragic time for me. Just to find out my cousin was shot.
Regardless of what he had, it's different ways that this situation could have been handled. Like a gunshot, son of mass, 4 to 5 times, whether it's 1 or 5 times, it's different way to do it. Now I have to shoot this man 4 or 5 times. I mean, it's just sad. I hate that it's had to hit so close to home.
Family members admit Wilder did have mental health issues, but they say he was taking his medicine. Now, as loved ones try to cope with this tragedy.
He liked to make you laugh, man, and he was a father, a great uncle, a loving brother.
They say they're still having a hard time coming to grips with what happened. They say investigators are staying tight-lipped about the exact details. Now they want answers.
Because he's a very nice man. He don't bother nobody or nothing. He always stay to himself, so I really want to know why they shot him.
Deep down, man, I'm hurting, and I just don't understand it.
Multiple agencies, including the Pickens County Sheriff's Department, as well as the Reform and Gordo Police Departments, were out here investigating this shooting. This incident is now in the hands of the State Bureau of Investigation. Reporting in Gordo, Alabama, Quentin Smith, WCBI News.
This marks the second officer-involved shooting involved in the Pickens County Sheriff's Department in just over a month. Hearts were heavy all across Chickasaw County after a dedicated law officer died in the line of duty. A procession of police vehicles, cars, and fire trucks traveled through Houston to honor Jeremy Voiles, who was killed in a traffic accident last night. Voiles, the son of Houston Police Chief Billy Voiles, had worked for the sheriff's office for about 5 years. He is survived by a wife and 2 young children.
He started his law enforcement career with Mississippi Department of Transportation, worked at a scale house at Fulton. Like I say, we hired him as a deputy sheriff, as a road deputy, I like to call it. And we had an opening come open in narcotics, and it was just something that he just felt like that he was called and wanted to do. So we gave him the opportunity, and he was an excellent officer.
Our hearts definitely go out to family and friends of Voiles. Visitation for Voiles will be Friday, August 30th, starting at 11 o'clock in the morning at Parkway Baptist Church in Houston. Services will be at 2 p.m. Again, that's on Friday. Funeral arrangements have been made for Captain Stacy Deans. Deans, a Columbus police officer, passed away yesterday after suffering from a spinal issue. The funeral will be Tuesday, September 3rd at 2 p.m. at the Trotter Convention Center in downtown Columbus. Deans has been over the Criminal Investigations Division at the Columbus Police Department since June of 2018. An update to a story from this past May. The woman accused of ordering a couple to leave the Oktibbeha County Lake while holding a gun is found guilty. Ruby Howell was found guilty of exhibition of a weapon in Oktibbeha County Justice Court, that is. The charge is a misdemeanor. She was ordered to pay a $250 fine, and she will not serve any jail time. Now, this is cell phone video from that incident late May at the Campgrounds of America site. The couple was asked to leave the property while Howell was holding a gun. She no longer works for KOA. Franklin and Jessica Richardson later filed a report with the Oktibbeha County Sheriff's Department. Time now to get a first look at our forecast. We'll send things over to Chief Meteorologist Keith Gibson. Hey there, Keith.
Scott, a gorgeous day, much lower humidity, still warm. A great sunset here on our Wednesday evening. Hopefully you can take advantage of the great weather this evening. No issues whatsoever. We are basically clear across our region, down into the upper 60s in some spots. Corinth, Oxford, Amory, other locations in the low and mid 70s. So lows tonight in most spots, low 60s, clear, quiet, and comfortable. Lots of sunshine tomorrow. We start out in the 60s, but we'll warm it up into the upper 80s in most spots. I'm back with your Labor Day weekend forecast in just a few minutes.
They say every vote counts, and the race for the District 5 seat on the Chickasaw County Board of Supervisors proves that point. The contest in yesterday's runoff came down to one vote. Layman Griggs came out on top with 335 votes to Margaret Futrell's 334.
Margaret and I ran a good race with each other, and we actually support each other, and it looked like we kind of split our supporters.
Now, Griggs isn't done just yet. He faces incumbent Russell King in the November general election. Well, the primaries and runoffs, they're over, and all eyes are on that November general election. Courtney Ann Jackson has the latest on what's already proving to be a heated race between Tate Reeves and Jim Hood.
With the Republican nomination secured, Tate Reeves is continuing down the path he started, targeting Jim Hood.
The National Democrats and their liberal allies have lined up behind Jim Hood. The conservative people in Mississippi are lining up behind me. And so there'll be a very stark contrast in this general election. And I look forward to having that conversation.
Democrat Jim Hood says all Reeves is doing is trying to throw out labels to scare voters.
We had a judge going against him in the first time, but you got a prosecutor this time. And I'm going to carry these issues to the people in Mississippi just like I would a jury. And they're going to get the facts and nothing but the facts.
Bill Waller may not have won the GOP runoff, but his voters are now at the front of mind for both Reeves and Hood.
That outreach from so many of those who supported Judge Waller that they intend to support us this fall. I think a lot will come over. It's going to be a huge block of voters that will move toward our campaign.
I heard loud and clear what the voters said today. I listened to the people who voted for Judge Waller. He had a lot of good people across Mississippi vote for him today. I heard them, and we're going to work together.
Healthcare will be a dividing line between the two. Reeves maintains that he will not be open to any form of Medicaid expansion. Hood believes there are both Republicans and Democrats prepared to consider it as a solution to the state's healthcare crisis. Courtney Ann Jackson, WCBI News.
Starting September 1st, the Anti-Road Rage Act will be in effect in Alabama. This act is intended to keep slow drivers out of the left lane and prevent highway traffic. This creates a violation to drive in the left lane for more than 1.5 miles without passing another car. Drivers, they'll be excused in the event of inclement weather, construction, or left turns. There will also be a 60-day grace period. Officers will hand out warnings instead of tickets.
A live view with our Alpha Insurance Camera Network. Columbus, Tupelo, Vernon, and Louisville. We're looking great here. Pretty nice for the next few days. More in your forecast for the weekend. Also another look at Dorian. The latest updates in. We'll talk about it next.
Your WCBI First Alert AccuWeather forecast with Chief Meteorologist Keith Gibson.
As expected, tons of sunshine across our region today. A great sunset from Louisville, Mississippi. You can see the sun right there. No real clouds in the sky right now. We've been losing daylight here. You probably know it if you've been out in the evening. Back on June 21st, rather, 14 hours, 23 minutes. Today, 13 hours and 1 minute, and we will continue losing daylight. And that means fall is approaching football is coming up. That means fall is here, essentially, let's just say. New Orleans, Memphis, and Atlanta hosting our SEC teams this weekend on Saturday. Weather is looking great. No weather impacts whatsoever in New Orleans or in Atlanta, since those games will be in the Dome, but Memphis should be okay. We pushed the showers and storms down into Louisiana today, and that's where they will be for the near term. No wet weather for us expected for a while, for a few more days here. The latest on Dorian, the latest update from the Hurricane Center just before 10 o'clock. Notice how the system has been strengthening here. It's looking more and more impressive. Sustained wind now up to 85 miles per hour, Cat 1 hurricane right now. Model tracks take it back towards Florida by late in the weekend and early next week. So the official track takes this system, currently a Cat 1 hurricane, and strengthens it back to a Cat 2 or Cat 3 as it approaches Florida by Sunday or Monday. And then once it gets to Florida, the question is, will it go up towards Georgia and stall out, or will it get back into the northeastern Gulf like some data suggests? Two different solutions here. We'll see how it goes. This is just the cone of uncertainty here, so it could actually end up anywhere in this area late in the weekend. We'll watch it here. At this point, we don't think there will be any direct impacts here, or maybe no impacts in our area, but of course we'll watch it. Low 60s, mainly clear conditions across our region today. 87, bright sunshine, warm and dry for our Thursday. Some of you maybe we'll get up to 88 or 89, but no real issues here for tomorrow or Friday. That bodes well for high school football. Saturday, we mentioned things are looking great around here, but some of that moisture may start to back on into our region by Sunday into Monday too. So we can't rule out some spotty showers and storms for the second half of the holiday weekend, but don't cancel your plans at all. It's looking pretty good here. And if we stay on the backside of Dorian next week, it could actually be pretty sunny and pretty hot. There's your AccuWeather 70 forecast.
7th grade teacher Carla Henry receives an unexpected surprise today. We popped in to give her the Educator of the Week award right in the middle of class. Henry teaches language arts at Columbus Middle School. She's known for building strong bonds with her students, so much so that her student nominated her.
Henry, she's like a second mother to me. She understands me. She makes sure that the kids in her class are like her top priority.
When there's relationship first, I believe that our students work harder for us. I believe that they believe in themselves more. I believe that they just give it their all.
Kia also wants to be a teacher when she grows up. If you'd like to nominate your favorite educator, visit WCBI.com.
WCBI's Educator of the Week is brought to you by Food Giant, where your neighbors are the owners.
Welcome back, everyone. Swimming pools and water parks, they're great ways to beat the heat, but there are a few things that you might want to remember. Here's more water safety tips in our Health Talk with Baptist.
Hi, I'm Dr. Lee Richardson, an emergency room physician at Baptist Memorial Hospital, Golden Triangle. Tonight we will be discussing more water safety tips. While enjoying the water during summer, please remember to be safe to avoid a trip to the emergency room. Drink plenty of fluids. It's easy to get dehydrated in the sun, especially if you're active or sweating. Keep up with your fluids, particularly water, to prevent dehydration. Alcohol and water never mix. Alcohol is involved in numerous water-related injuries and up to half of all water-related deaths. The statistics for teenage guys are particularly scary. 1/2 of all adolescent male drownings are tied to alcohol use. If a child is missing, always check the water first. Seconds count in preventing death or disability. Know how and when to call 911. There are also safety tips to remember if you or your kids go to a water park. Of course, you will do more splashing than swimming, but it is still just as important to know your own and your child's skill level at the water park as it is the pool. Read the warning signs. Each area in the water park can have different depths of water, so please pay attention. If you or your children do not know how to swim, be sure to wear a Coast Guard approved life jacket when necessary, and be sure there is lifeguard supervision. Join us next time for Health Talk with Baptist, when we will discuss boating safety tips.
Mail your topic suggestions to healthtalk@WCBI.com. Health Talk has been brought to you by Baptist Memorial Hospital, Golden Triangle.
Tommy Stevens prepares for his first game as quarterback, one for Mississippi State. Hear more from the Bulldogs signal caller next in sports.
your WCBI Sports with Courtney Robb.
Head coach Joe Moorhead said at the beginning of the week that starting quarterback Tommy Stevens was named a team captain for the 2019 season. And not just named, but named unanimously. Moorhead saying Stevens received 3 times as many votes as the next offensive player. And Stevens says as the new guy, he just put his head down and worked, and his teammates took notice.
Big goal of mine really since I started playing college football. It's a huge honor. I guess very proud to be a captain, and very, very thankful of my teammates for thinking so highly of me.
Head coach Nick Saban confirming a big blow to the Crimson Tide defense. Junior linebacker Dylan Moses suffered a torn ACL in practice Tuesday, ending his 2019 season. Moses was listed as the starting middle linebacker for the Tide and was the team's leading tackler in 2018. It's the second significant knee injury for an Alabama linebacker this offseason. Starter Joshua McMillan also out for extended time from an injury from the beginning of the month. Well, the bad news continues for Alabama. Multiple reports saying 4 key players for the Tide will be suspended for some time in Saturday's game against Duke in Atlanta. Top running back Najee Harris and Brian Robinson, as well as linebacker Terrell Lewis, are expected to miss the first half for missing a team function. Wide receiver Devonta Smith will miss time as well, but the length is unknown. Head coach Nick Saban declined to comment, saying it was, quote, misinformation and that it'll be handled internally. Mississippi State's newest softball coach Samantha Ricketts announcing some additions to her staff. Former associate head coach Josh Johnson at Ball State will join Ricketts as an assistant coach, completing the full-time staffers along with Katiana Muga and Nicole Penley. Muga will serve as the volunteer assistant coach and Penley as a graduate assistant. Penley currently competes with the Cleveland Comets, and Muga was drafted in 2017 by the Texas Charge. Back-to-back weeks, the game of the week will feature a big-time rivalry. It was another tough choice between a great slate of games, but it doesn't get any bigger than the Little Egg Bowl. 2 6A powerhouses meet yet again. The Starkville Yellow Jackets taking on the Oxford Chargers. Since 2013, the two have battles for the smaller Golden Egg, and that time Starkville leads the series 5-1, including a 56-7 win over the Chargers in 2018 for the 5th straight year. 2 different teams. Jackets coming off a week 1 loss to Brandon. Oxford dominated Northwest Rankin last Friday. Both would love to earn the bragging rights. We'll be live from Starkville Friday to get you ready for week 2 of the End Zone. Time for the debut of something new here on WCBI Sports, our Player of the Week. Every week we'll honor one of the biggest ballers of the week, whether it's on the gridiron, the softball diamond, or the volleyball court. This week's Player of the Week hails from Fulton. Itawamba AHS running back Ike Chandler is our inaugural Player of the Week. Ike rushed for 276 yards and 5 touchdowns in the Indians' 48-28 Week 1 win over Amory. Like any good running back, Ike credits the big fellas up front for his big game.
Good, my offensive line blocked good, and I was able to get through the holes and stuff.
Yeah, hard work. I mean, he works hard throughout the year. Ike is the type of kid that just this is what he focuses on. This is where he worked hard in the weight room and hard on the practice field, and it pays off on Friday nights. And he don't get into he's rough around the edges. He don't get into the to all the looking good and this and that and other. He just likes to go play football, and it's fun to watch.
Well, congrats to Ike, and each week you can email submissions for Athlete of the Week to sports@WCBI.com or any of our social media accounts. And the JUCO season is kicking off. Tomorrow evening we'll have more highlights and lives coming up from that, so make sure you tune in, as well as some scores as well. That's it for sports. Your last look is after the break.
Looking pretty good for the next few days. Lots and lots of sunshine here. Warm days, comfortable nights. We actually have a shot at some upper 50s tomorrow night. So enjoy it. We've earned this. It's been pretty wet, pretty steamy for a while. We'll have a chance for a few storms Sunday and the Monday, but the overall rain chance are pretty limited. And at this point, Dorian doesn't look to be a major player for us, but of course we'll keep watching that and look at the latest trends.
All right, sounds good. Thank you very much, Keith. Thanks for watching, everyone. Have a good night. We'll see you tomorrow.